pleased to welcome you to this week's edition of Engineering and You, a program that is sponsored by Prince Engineer MC Shillon, FNSC. And if you have been watching this program for a few weeks, you will discover that we've been on a competition, the season 2 of the inter-school debate competition. And today is going to be very, very interesting. In fact, today is going to be a firecracker, I must tell you beforehand. But before I set the ball rolling, let's meet the judges for today and who will be determining who wins and who doesn't. To the judges.
Good evening, everyone at home. I am Engineer Lushino Bamdele Agbaje, MNSC, and I'm very glad to be here.
Hey everyone, I am Engineer Oluwatosin Oshifeko.
It's going to be great here today. I'm Engineer Toyin Oyene.
All right, I won't like to go ahead without recognizing my amiable timekeeper, Juma. All right, we'll take this very, very short break. When we return, the 2 contesting schools will be on set with me and we'll set the ball rolling. Don't go anywhere. Glad to have you back. The program is still Engineering and You. And one thing I would assure you of is that in this week's edition, you are going to be informed and you're going to be educated. All right, the topic for discussion today is, should engineering companies be legally required to hire more female engineers? And to do justice to that are 2 exciting schools. One of them, the defending champion of the season 1 of this competition, and that is Tide Up College, Ashiru. So, introduce yourself, your names.
My name is Fatobere Deborah, a representative of Tide Up College. My name is Lamidi Masada and I'm from Tide Up College.
All right, and to contest with them to see if they can usurp them from the seat is Ebenerzer Grammar School, Iberekodo. So, introduce yourself.
I am Adela Steven from Ebenerzer Grammar School.
My name is Apishola Saidas from Ebenezer Grammar School.
All right. The ball has been set. The game is about to start. Sit tight, fasten your seat belts, take your coffee, tea, whatever it is you want to entertain yourself with. And I will step aside for these people to take over. Don't go anywhere.
In a world where technology is gradually taking over, traditions are vanishing. We are not taking our place in medicine, occupying positions in law, standing our ground in accounting. Then why not engineering? Pardon my manners. Before I proceed, I would love to give honor to whom honor is due. A good day to my sagacious chairman, my incorruptible and unbiased panel of judges, ever amiable co-debaters, and my ever-listening audience. The personality standing before you is no other than Fatobere Deborah, a proud ambassador of Tide Up College, Asheru Abeokuta, yet he vehemently and impetuously support the motion. Engineering companies should be legally required to hire more female engineers. But what are engineering companies? Engineering companies are businesses specialized in the provision of services relating to design, construction, and development of infrastructural projects, products, and systems. While engineers are professionals who implement what the scientists have actually discovered or observed. Of course, there are news all over the world regarding male engineers like Michael Faraday, Thomas Edison, Charles Babbage, and all. But we're so quick to forget Ada Lovelace, who invented computer programming. Or is it Hedy Limar, who invented Wi-Fi and Bluetooth? Or is it Stephen Klocek, who invented bulletproof? Or is it even Charlotte Bridgetwood, who invented the first automatic windscreen wiper? We have been relegated to the background. We have been underestimated. We are now seen as irrelevant. However, we are so quick to forget the fact that engineering is based on innovation. It's based on problem solving. It's based on your ability to bring experiences from both life and work to find solutions to problems where no one else has. Look, we need people who can view the world from diverse perspectives. We need people who come from different backgrounds. We need people who have different experiences and not just 2 people who are alike and then what they can bring to the table is nothing close to being unique. Look, the introduction of more women into the engineering company will only bring about more initiatives, more innovations, more ideas, which will obviously and ultimately ultimately and absolutely lead to the rapid development of the engineering company. Thank you.
In 2015, Aisha Bello, a brilliant young Nigerian lady, graduated with first class in electrical engineering from a federal university. She applied to over 20 engineering firms across Nigeria and got hired. Today, she leads a solar power project in Kano that supplies electricity to over 3,000 homes. Her stories they prove that when women are qualified, they get hired based on merit, not because of a law. Before I continue, I would like to give honor to whom it is due by saying good day, Mr. Chairman, distinguished panel of judges, my honorable Kaibuka, my co-debaters, and my wonderful audience. Standing before you is Adelakun Stephen, a bona fide representative of the great citadel of Ebenerzer Grammar School Senior. And today, I stand firmly to answer no to the debate question, should companies be legally required to hire more female engineers? Employment should be based on merit, not mandate. I will present my argument with the following points. First, the root problem is not about discrimination, it's about talent. My point is simple. You cannot force what does not exist. According to the Nigeria's National Bureau of Statistics, out of all students offering engineering-related courses, only 15% of them are women. So if the number of female engineering graduates is already low, how can we require companies to hire more female engineers? Second, legal mandates harm and reduce productivity. According to a 2021 report by the German Institute for Economic Research, out of several businesses struggle to meet the legal demand to hire more female engineers without lowering their hiring standards. Why? Because engineering is not about fulfilling laws, it's about solving real-world problems. If hiring is forced, companies may hire more female engineers not because they are competent, but because they don't want to be sued. This could damage the quality of services provided, and on the overall, the economy of such a nation will be affected. In addition, it could create significant administrative burdens for small establishments, which account for over 80% of the engineering sector in Nigeria. These businesses already struggle with tight budgets and limited resources. Mandating gender laws will make them to prioritize compliance over competence, diverting critical funds away from innovation, research, and development. Furthermore, it undermines female achievement. When companies are forced to hire more women, it sends the wrong message that women can only succeed with help from the law. This is unfair for women who are already excelling on their own. Imagine a female engineer who has dedicated years to her studies and has outperformed her peers. If companies are legally required to hire more female engineers, it undermines her achievements, suggesting that she was only hired to fill the gap rather than for her expertise. This not only affects the way we view women in engineering, but tells the narrative that women cannot succeed based on merit alone. To wrap it up, I have shown that legally requiring companies to hire more female engineers cannot solve the problem of gender imbalance in the workforce. Rather, it wasn't it. Let me end by asking you a question. Do you want a generation of engineers chosen for their qualifications or one chosen simply to tick boxes? Definitely you would want the former and not the latter. That is why forcing companies to hire more female engineers cannot solve the issue. Thank you.
When you educate a man, you educate an individual. But when you educate a woman, you educate a nation. Imagine a workplace where diverse perspectives drive innovation, creativity, and success. A workplace where women and men collaborate together, bringing unique experiences and insights to the table. The importance of women cannot be understated in the workforce. Standing on all existing protocols, I'm Ibenerzer, and I'm here to buttress more on the points of my main speaker. Firstly, I want to ask a question. Please, who has seen a bird flying efficiently with one wing? This emphasizes more on the supportive role of women in the society. There is a saying that goes that behind every successful man, there is a woman. So you think engineers will be successful without a woman? Of course, in the engineering field, we know that they need more of physical help and support. But are we forgetting the managerial aspect? Why can we not employ women that work in the managerial aspect while the men work in the physical aspect? My opponent mentioned something about employing based on merit and not mandates. The fact that they said you should legally employ women doesn't mean you should not check if they are competent enough. You said 15% study engineering. Sorry, it's 22% that study engineering in Nigeria. So out of this 22%, if you interview all of them, you can pick the ones that are only the competent ones, not just employing based on the fact that the government said you should employ women. Don't do that. Of course, I know people may want to say that, okay, women, when you employ women, they will go on breaks due to antenatal, postnatal. But you know that men also go on breaks due to family issues and health issues. when they go on this break, why can't the women substitute for them? And then the men, when the women go on break, then they substitute for each other. Thank you.
Imagine a world where qualifications take a backseat to gender. A world where the focus shifts from talent and skills to arbitrary quotas. This idea may sound good on the surface, but it contradicts the principle of meritocracy, innovation, and equality that our society needs to thrive. Before I proceed, standing on the existing protocol, standing here before His Shola Saida, the supporting speaker of Ebenerzer Grammar School, Iberekodo, I am here to support my chief speaker in answering the debate question which says, should companies be legally required to hire more female engineers with a capital No? Before driving into my point, what is engineering? Engineering can be defined as the application of mathematical and scientific methods to design and create solutions to real-world problems, while legal requirements refers to the laws, rules, and regulations that are enforced by government authorities. Now, why do I argue that companies should not be legally required to hire more female engineers? Firstly, legally requiring companies to hire more female engineers undermines the principle of meritocracy. Companies should be free and allowed to hire engineers on their own, regardless of gender. Imposing quotas can lead to less qualified individuals being hired over the more competent ones. Secondly, this approach overlooks individual choices. Forcing women into engineering sends the message, you are not valued unless you force companies to hire you. This undermines the right of women to choose their own career paths. Before I proceed, let me ask you a question, ma'am. Did you choose engineering because the law says so, or because you're passionate about it? Definitely, you chose engineering because of your own interest. In addition, enforcing gender laws can compromise the quality of work and innovation. Engineering thrives on skills, knowledge, and expertise. By mandating laws, we risk losing the talent pool and prioritizing inclusion over excellence. Imagine a scenario where a company is developing groundbreaking technology. Would you want the most qualified engineer on that project, or someone simply hired to meet gender requirements? Definitely, you would prefer the former and not the latter. In conclusion, the evidences we provided support our stand that legally requiring companies to hire more female engineers is not the solution to gender imbalance in the engineering field. Rather, it actually compounds the problem. Let's focus on empowering and educating young women and ensuring they succeed based on merit rather than laws. Thanks for listening.
Standing on all existing protocols, in addendum to the points earlier stated, we are so quick to forget that women promote teamwork, and one of the key principles to the development of any organization is teamwork. And that's why the Bible states in Matthew chapter 12, verse 25, that if any city is divided against itself, it cannot stand. So therefore, if the engineering company is divided against itself, please, how can it stand? So there is need for women in the engineering society there is need for connecting spirits, unifying souls, which obviously is deposited in women. Of course, my opponents might state the fact that men are more emotionally stronger than women. But of course, are we so quick to forget that isn't it this same emotional strength that these men are utilizing in engaging in fraudulent activities like investment of funds? So therefore, if we have more of women who do not have the emotional strength to engage in these fraudulent activities, then there will be much more development, long lifespan of development in the engineering society. With this, I'd love to hand over to my supporting speaker.
In a country like Nigeria, where we have an high rate of unemployment and poverty rate in Nigeria, we have female engineers that study around the world. Now, you said when they go to school, they study engineering because of things I don't know. You said they should not be employed. We are increasing unemployment rate in Nigeria if we don't employ these women. What do you expect them to do? How do you expect them to feed their families? How do you expect them to give money to other people? Do you expect them to just sit down at home doing nothing? Oh, I don't understand. Thank you. Is this the last one?
Good.
The chairperson, esteemed judges, my worthy opponents and audience, I stand here today to refute and address the points raised by my opponents. I will demonstrate why their arguments do not hold water and why our position remains the most valid. My opponents argued that because women, we are saying they should not be employed. That's not the problem. The problem is that there are a low number of female engineering graduates. If you are saying that we should employ more women, when there are a low number of female engineering graduates, where do we get the female engineers? My opponents also argue that legal requirements help to close the gender gap. But that's just like treating the symptoms without curing the diseases. We cannot close the gender gap if we don't have enough qualified female engineers to begin with. Now, if they insist on saying, I am more female engineers by law, what stops them from saying, I am more male nurses, hire more female welders, or even hire more male secretaries. This becomes a cycle of legal interference that does not solve the real problem. So having dismantled and countered all the points raised by my opponents, what then are the real solutions? First, if we want one in engineering, we have to prepare more qualified female engineers. Countries like Rwanda and India have made significant progress, not by mandating hiring, but by creating female-only tech scholarships, trainings, and science clubs. These initiatives help girls excel in the engineering field. In Nigeria, the Digital Girls Club is introducing thousands of girls into coding, robotics, and AI. For a long-lasting solution, we have to introduce female STEM education into our secondary schools and also provide these girls with strong role models. This is how to solve the problem from the root, not through compulsion. Our society must work together to nurture these young girls from the classroom to the workplace. As the American civil rights activist Marian Wright Elderman once said, you cannot be what you can't see. Let's focus on building on what our young girls can see and become, not what companies should be forced to do. In conclusion, I have shown that my opponent's points fail to address the root cause behind gender imbalance in the workforce. I've also proposed alternative sustainable solutions. For these reasons, we continue to stand firm. Companies should not be legally required to hire more female engineers. Thank you.
My opponent mentioned something about the percentage of female that are in the engineering workforce being that is small, something like that. Okay, it's small. Bring these people together, interview them, pick the competent ones among them. Simple. So I say yes to win hiring female engineers. I say yes to demotion, and I say yes to female being head. Thank you.
You see, one mistake we are making is that we think we are enforcing engineering companies to employ more female engineers. No, legally encouraging engineering companies to employ more female engineers is only compelling, is only encouraging more female engineers in our society. We are going to forget that female engineers do calm down to think. They have a positive mindset, unlike men. They think widely, therefore encouraging and embracing each and every kind of initiative, ideas, and innovative, no matter how small, no matter how poor, no matter how physical they might sound. Without these cogent, lucid, irrefutable, irrefragable, undeniable, unassailable, incontrovertible, and incontestable point of mind, I hope I've been able to convince you. Even two of our judges here, who are female engineers, they can testify to the fact that they are successful in their careers. I've been able to convince you beyond every iota, every bit, every glimmer, every tissue, and every scintilla of doubt that, of course, engineering companies should be legally encouraged to employ more female engineers.
We have demonstrated that the legal inquiry companies to hire more female engineers is not the solution, rather it actually wasn't it. We have effectively shown that these requirements will lead to lower quality output and undermine the genuine accomplishment of female engineers, among other issues. We cannot dare to sacrifice quality on the altar of inclusion. We have effectively refuted the opposition's arguments, exposing their failure to grasp the true cause of the problem. And we haven't just pointed fingers. We have proposed real and practical solutions, like empowering and educating young women, ensuring they succeed based on methods and laws. Before I leave, let me leave you with this question. Would you prefer living in science where female engineers are hired because the law says so, or one where female engineers thrive through merit and innovation? Thanks so much for listening.
All right, I explained to you earlier that this is going to be a cracker, and I'm sure you've understood what I was trying to say. But one thing you would not take away, you take it from here, is that you are informed and you are educated, maybe a little bit of entertainment. That's what we promise you and engineering and you, and they've done justice to that. But mine is not to judge. That's one of the jobs I do not envy at the moment. So I'll pass that to the panel of judges and let them tell us, analyze the whole thing and tell us who is going to the next level of this competition.
So, it's been a very fierce debate here today, I must confess. And the whole room has been vibrating left and right. I mean, even the seat of the judges as well have been turning left and right. We're trying to see who will win this competition. But I must confess that both teams have done very well. Let's give them a round of applause. And I also want to comment that the debate has been kind of dynamic, such that I see some points, especially in the aspect of the rebuttal, like coming out of and coming very intelligently. And I also want to comment that. Thank you very much. So, for the technical content, I'll go for Tied Up first. Tied Up College, Ashero. Technical content, you have a score of 40. And for the rebuttal, you have a score of 15. For the use of English, which composes of your dressing, tenses, vocabulary, and composure, you have a score of 39, which gives you a total score of 94. For Ebenezer Grammar School, you have a score of 40 on technical content as well. For your rebuttal, you have a score of 10. And for the use of English, you have a score of 39, giving a total score of 89.
Wow. This is a good one. These two students, these two schools have really done well on this. Well, the question of whether to require engineering companies to hire more female engineers legally is a complex one for and against the motion. So it's just on both sides. But addressing gender bias, I would say that you should require more female engineers to help address that issues. How do we do that? By creating, like the other guy was saying something about innovations, you're helping them with their careers so that by that they can come out. But then when you want to employ anyone, it should be a fair one, it should be based on merit. Thank you.
Okay. Well, that's what we have to see on both sides. And as our our representative now, we always say that everyone is a winner. Truly, it's now confirmed that everyone is a winner. So, but definitely, we must have someone that will go to the next phase. So today, having a total mark of 94, Tied Up College is congratulated as the winner.
All right, that is the verdict of the judges. One school must go to the next level. If you ask me, I wish the both of them could. But like I always say on this show, there is no loser. Everyone is a winner. So for that, I would like the two schools to just congratulate one another, each other, and in the spirit of sportsmanship. So go ahead and congratulate yourselves. This is not the end of the competition. The competition still continues. Next week, we'll have 2 other schools compete and slug it out to go to the next phase. But I want to say a big thank you to our sponsor, Prince Iberekodo and FNSC, for making this program a reality and bringing us to your viewing pleasure every Friday. Until next week, my name is Tunde Olaniro. Bye-bye.